Hi guys, and welcome to another Zoom chat. Today I'm very happy to announce a new partnership with SARugbymag and UXI Sport. And with me is the COO of UXI Sport, Tia Fasaki. Tia, thanks so much for making this happen, and please do tell all our listeners and readers about what you do and UXI Sport and everyone who we have with us today.
Thank you very much, Craig, and thank you for the opportunity as well to engage with SA Rugby Magazine. I'm very pleased to introduce my team that's joined me today from Bloemfontein, the Cheetahs Institute of Excellence team, starting with MJ Smith, who's also the Academy Manager of the Cheetahs Institute, Ruan Buerta, who's our mental coach on the program, he's also the mental coach of the Cheetahs, Albert Kiris, who's our head coach, and also Albert is the program director, so he also runs the whole rugby high performance program and the direction of it, and also the quality assurance of the entire program on the rugby side is managed by Albert and his support staff at the Cheetahs Institute. So we're very excited about UXI Sport, in particular the rugby part of which is actually our first institution. We want to obviously engage with all the sports in South Africa, not only rugby, but we're fortunate to start in rugby. And Craig has mentioned to you, I think the main aim of the institutes were to create opportunities. We realized that there's a huge gap in the South African under-21 market, especially with rugby players, where many of these schoolboys never get the opportunities due to various reasons. One of those being a critical one, that a lot of these upcoming stars, and many of you that's followed World Rugby last year and the South African Springbok team would know that 12 of those players never played SA schools rugby. So not all these rising stars come from very good schools traditionally. They are many times not really noticed or get those opportunities to play on a professional level or get coached, for that matter, on a professional level. So those guys are literally left out of the professional equation, and many of them only start developing in their third and fourth year once engaged in a high performance program. So it was about creating new opportunities. And yes, there's plenty of rugby academies out there, but we realized that if these guys don't get the opportunities in rugby, we needed to create solid opportunities for them for life after rugby, whether it is a full-time job opportunity because they've studied an academic program, plus life skills that will make them more employable in the workplace. But we needed to create a structured platform where guys can develop their rugby talent, but also at the same time complete an academic program that will give them job opportunities for life after rugby, and also the life coaching and mental coaching that will give them the skills to be superior young recruits in the workplace. And I think that's the unique thing that sports actually brings, is that it teaches young men, especially young men and women, unique skills that will make them highly employable eventually, if it's steered in the right direction.
For sure.
So,
yeah. Yes, sorry. So I thought maybe let's just we swing the ball to MJ, and MJ, maybe you could just chat a little bit about the things Tia's touched on, and just in terms of the finding that balance with the young players and kind of getting them on the same page to realize that as much as they have this massive passion for rugby, the other side of it is ensuring that they also got that academic side to them, and obviously start thinking not just about one career in rugby, but also about other things that enable them to be able to pursue different careers once rugby is no longer viable for them when they get a bit older or think about retirement.
Yes, Craig, thank you. Just to elaborate a bit on that is especially with the Free State Cheetahs, but I do believe that at the Western Province at this stage as well, and also a couple of institutes and academies that's going to be established in the future over the country, is one thing that stands out for me like a rock out of water is that the rugby program and the academic program is separated. So what makes it difficult currently with the universities and the technikons which is involved with us, like Shimlas and CU2 plays in the Varsity Cup, is that the players have classes during training times. So the academic program actually overlaps with the rugby program, where with this partnership with CTU, this program is run separately, where the rugby program is done in the morning and the academic program in the afternoon. So the player can put in all his effort and attention into one specific component of this program, and that is a big plus for me. And what excites me is that we are looking for the perfect story for a guy that comes in that's been overlooked at school level and he walks out with a senior contract, or a guy that's been overlooked and couldn't apply for university and he walks out into a great job. So, or both at the same time. So I do believe that this is a great opportunity for young boys who wants to explore a bit more than what the normal guy will do. Of course, it's a high performance program. Everything is run in accordance with the senior rugby program. So the rugby side is emphasis is pretty much top notch, with Albert Kieris heading it up. I mean, Albert's got Six Nations experience. We worked with the Italian side for a couple of weeks. And I mean, in the other academies at this point, you have Russell Winter, who's now appointed as the Bulls assistant coach. So there's a lot of experience in the coaching staff all across the country in this program. So that excites me, and I do believe that is one thing that will make young players who doesn't really know where to go and what to do, will make this a lucrative opportunity to explore.
For sure. And Albert, just turning to you, maybe you could just touch on some of the things that MJ has obviously spoken of, but just to elaborate a little bit further on your experiences with these young men, and just elaborate a little bit on what sort of quality of person and player that you're seeing obviously start their development at the Cheetahs and with the Institute.
Yeah, Craig, thanks. I think Tiam and MJ mentioned it now, that the boys we got is not your big school boys, the boys from the great colleges or the Paul Roos, so it's boys from small towns, and what I find was great about them is that they're eager to learn, they're hungry, they take in information, they're excited, and they just want to learn. So for me, it's a great group of boys that wants to, they want to participate, and they're up for anything, and they like I said, they're eager to learn, and they just want to improve, and that's the nice thing about these boys for me.
100%, yeah. And then I'll move on to Ruan before we look like we're leaving you out. Ruan, I've obviously had a chance to chat to some of the other franchises during this rather difficult time of the coronavirus and the lockdown that it's created, and some of the psychologists and mental coaches who've been working with the team have mentioned they've probably never been busier around this time, just because players have been idle and very uncertain about what exactly their future holds. Maybe just touch on that subject, but also just generally around your role and some of the important work that you're doing.
Well, yeah, I think it is quite a busy time for us, but it's also an exciting time, because I think, I think where we come from, let's say if you take the Cheetahs, for instance, we are used to it being quite tough, so we're used to having to think out the box and do stuff. If we want to almost not stay competitive, but be excellent. So I think we've got that. I think we've got that trait down at the Cheetahs. So we have a thing we call ownership, in a sense, and I think professional sport is probably one of the toughest things to to take ownership of, because it's not a normal life. So you have to kind of be able to do more and make other choices that normal people are not able to make. And I think that touches to, well, we're all human, and to operate on a superior level when you are tested is tough. And I think that's why sport people look to sport people as heroes, because they know what to do under pressure.
Sure.
So when something like this happens, and you don't know, nobody knows. So nobody knows what's going on, so it's harder to make a decision. So for us, it's basically, and it comes down to these boys also, is well, if you make one good decision at a time, I think you've got a better chance. So it's understanding the big picture and then working the small picture. And I think that's what we try to instill in these boys. So it doesn't matter if they become a professional rugby player or professional businessman. I think the rules apply to everybody. So we try to start soon and try to kind of teach ownership in a sense, because that is quite a big lack, especially in the South African environment of sport. So that's what we try and do.